What made you decide to run an animal shelter?
We've lived here for several years, and we've seen a lot of neglect and abuse as far as animals go. And so we approached county and city and asked if they was interested in starting a shelter, and no one was, and we kept seeing it, and we decided to go ahead and do it on our own.
What happens at an animal shelter?
Well, we are actually considered a rescue, and there's a big difference in them. But basically, in a rescue environment, if we get a call about an injured animal or one being neglected, we will go out, and as long as the people permit us to go into the property and surrender the animal, we'll bring the animal here. If it needs to be vetted, then we will take the dog to the vet, have everything done to him that needs to be done, and we bring him back here. If he's very injured, we will work with him and rehab him until he's ready for adoption. Then we start searching for adoptable families. And once we get a family that's interested in the dog, then we go through the process of adoption. And that's kind of a lengthy process.
How many animals do you often get?
We stay full 99% of the time. We average about 17 phone calls a day. A lot of them are just the type of calls that the people are just wanting to get rid of the animal. They no longer want it anymore. We call that a rehome. But we stay full. Our big problem is that we don't have enough room, and so we depend a lot on fostering, which that's a person that would take the animal. We are still over the animal and responsible for the animal, but they keep it at their home and take care of it until we can find a foster or open up a kennel.
How often do you come across animals that have been abused?
Almost every day. Very seldom do we find animals that's in good shape. Most of them have been mistreated or neglected in one way or the other. Example, no food, no water for weeks. Beaten to the point that we have to have amputations done. We have bait dogs, which bait dogs is used for the fighting rings that they have. They'll throw that dog in there and let the big dogs chew it up and then throw it out. We have one up here right now that was a bait dog, and she was chewed up and they shot her in the head and threw her in a ditch, but she survived, and she's a sweet dog. So every day we do this.
What goals do you want to achieve working here, and have you achieved any of them?
We've achieved a lot of goals. What we want to do is not to have to do this anymore. And by doing that is make people aware of coming to schools, talking with the kids. Our goals, our main goal, of course, would to be build a shelter. Our plans that we have drawn up is $450,000 for this shelter. So that's a lot of money, a lot of hoping. But through grants and federal programs like that, it's not impossible.
So, you are a volunteer at Rough Road Rescue?
Yes.
Okay, what do you do as a volunteer?
I'm currently working with the dogs to teach them basic commands: sit, stay, come, heel.
What made you want to volunteer?
To help the dogs, to get permanent homes, or forever homes as they're currently being called. And it's also a part of my curriculum to graduate and become a certified trainer.
And what did you have to do to be able to volunteer?
I came and asked them, because I didn't know. I had seen the dogs here. I go past here on my way to my current job all the time, and I had stopped and asked him if he was a shelter or what he was, and Steve explained to me that he is a rescue and explained all that, and I explained to him who I am and where I was taking my course through and asked him if I could come and help, and he said yes.
What's it like to volunteer here?
It's enjoyable. If you love dogs, you'll enjoy it.
Is there anything that usually happens when you volunteer? Like, is there a routine you go by, or a schedule, or is it just whatever goes on?
For me, I have the hours that I tell them I can be here and make sure that they're going to be here, and that's all right for them. And right now it's in the mornings, right after they get done feeding.
What's the hardest part about being a volunteer?
You get attached to the dogs, and then when they find forever homes, which you're really happy about, but at the same time it's hard to tell them bye. They're adopting one out today, and he's a little pup, and he's extremely smart, and it was a pleasure working with him, and I told him bye before I came in here for you. So because I know he's hopefully will never be back.
Do you feel like you're making a difference in these animals' lives?
I've only been doing it for a couple of weeks, but yeah, I think so.